How's it going, everybody? Today we're going to talk about what love looks like in the person of Jesus to start off, and we'll see where this really goes, because I want to ask you a question. Was Jesus Christ demon-possessed on planet Earth? And of course we would say no, but how many know that even in the life of Jesus and his followers and people, there are many times that what Jesus called people to do and what he himself did, it looked demonic by natural eyes. And so you can't discern by your physical eyes. That's why the Bible says he will not judge with his eyes nor decide with his ears, but in righteousness he will make judgments. That's an Isaiah, I think. We have Jesus going to a cross. That looks like suicide. That looks like manic breakdown, okay? That looks like a guy that doesn't have his head wrapped on clearly. It's like, Jesus, why are you letting them nail your hands? You did nothing to do that. If you truly are the Son of God and did no sin or blasphemy, why are you letting people kill you? If I let somebody kill me and just let them do that, or let somebody kill somebody that I know, my wife or something, you think I'm crazy. So, where do I get this from the Bible, though? Remember when Jesus made a whip of cords and drove out the money changers in the temple? They're selling cattle, sheep, doves, whatever it was. Okay? That doesn't look like your typical version of what you think a Joel Osteen, Joyce Meyer pastor should be doing in church today. If you went into McDonald's right now or Walmart and started flipping tables and driving them out with a whip of cords, it's very possible you'd get the police called on you. They might take you to prison or a psych ward or a court hearing. Why? Because it doesn't look like how they discern Jesus. Or if they do think Jesus is like that, they still don't think it's acceptable behavior probably. You have Abraham who hears a voice telling him, go kill your son. If you heard a voice telling you to go kill yourself, how many of you would say, I rebuke you, Satan? But what if it was God? What about Isaiah walking 3 years naked? Is that the real translation in Hebrew? I mean, we'll read that in the English Bible. It says that Isaiah walked naked 3 years. Did he truly do that? If he did, then I have a problem with that. I don't want that to be my calling from God. Not that I'm not good looking, right? I mean, maybe I can give somebody a show real quick, right? No, that's not exactly, go streaking at college or something might be fun for some guys in a frat party or something like that. But to walk around naked for 3 years, they would put you in prison or a psych ward most likely, unless we're just living in a comedy sing-along film or something like that. You have Ezekiel, who was told, he wrote, I think, to cook over his own dung cakes, I think it says. Ooh, his own poop. Called to cook hot dogs over his own poop. Whatever food it was, right? Man, I don't know what it was. Okay, you have things in the Bible that don't sound like God. Was it Hosea that God said, go marry a prostitute? How many of you know that who's a single pastor out there? I don't even know who's single. Let's say Joel Osteen was single. Let's say Joseph Prince was single. And they just came out one day. Let's say me, okay? I'm unmarried to a woman. Let's say that God tells me to go marry a prostitute one day. And so I just come out and I pastor a church of 10,000. And I say, God told me to go down to Hugh Hefner's Playboy Mansion and go marry somebody there. How many people would put that up on social media? How many CNN people would come, right? They'd be banging on my door for the story. Because it doesn't look like how we picture God in our one-dimensional little box frame of God is the cute and nice and polite God. In Jesus, how do we act like Jesus? We act real nice. We wear a tie on Sunday for a guy, or we dress real cute and we don't show our cleavage, and we wear high-heeled shoes and we don't put much lipstick on maybe, and whatever. We wear suits and ties and we don't swear and we don't drink alcohol or smoke. And it's like that's their idea of what Jesus looks like. But the problem I have, but then their idea of God the Father is he's a wrathful, vindicative, pour out wrath on his son, man. He's ready to toast you if you make a mistake, and we live life afraid of God. Yet our version of Jesus is that Jesus is nice and polite. He's this kind God. So we can work at a soup kitchen, because what would Jesus do? Jesus would listen to Jesus would listen to Casting Crowns, and so we listen to Casting Crowns. Jesus would listen, right, to TBN maybe, or Sid Roth with Supernatural, some would say. So we do those things, but yet our view of the Father is that he's much more holy and just and stricter than Jesus, and it just gets out of shape real quick. And you got to go back to what the early church was teaching. Did they even believe that God the Father poured his wrath out on Jesus? And I don't want to get into that right now because too many people are going to, it's going to shake up some feathers, some boats. But, sometimes it's good to shake the boat a little bit to see, what are you trusting in? What are you trusting in? Are you trusting in the true voice of God? If God were to lead you right now and speak to you, would you need a Bible verse to confirm it? If God spoke to you like to Abraham, did Abraham really hear a voice telling him, go slaughter your son Isaac? I mean, if I heard God say, go kill the town judge, I'm not going to do it. I'd say, God, that doesn't make sense to me. Clarify. Interruption. Redo. Remember that one game? Was it on Whose Line Is It Anywheres? Where, how do they do it? They act something out and they say, change. And they got to redo what they say, right? They got to say it again. That's cool. That's kind of how I do it with God. I'd be like, God, there's no way I'm going to kill somebody. Thou shalt not murder. God has a commandment, thou shalt not murder, yet does he tell Abraham to kill his own son? So when we're hearing voices, I know a guy that jumped off of a bridge onto the road. He jumped off a bridge, maybe 40 feet, 35 feet high, jumped off it, almost died, broke his back, got paralyzed for a couple of years or something, with pins, surgery, whatever, because he called it the leap of faith, because he believed he was hearing voices or whatever. He was he had his psych ward, whatever, and believed that God was telling him to take the leap of faith and jump off the bridge. Now we would say, most people in their sane mind would say, that's not the voice of God, I'll never do that. But yet you have God tell Abraham, you have Hosea marry a prostitute, you have Isaiah walk naked 3 years, you have David who in his joyous moment strips down to his underwear bare naked or whatever he was when he's dancing. I'll become even more undignified than this. But today, if we did that in church, they're calling the pastor on us and they're meeting with us and we got to counsel and cast a demon out of them. So it's just like, and I'm not saying I want everybody to just wear their beach suit, birthday suit to church. I'm just saying, do we really know what God looks like all the time? Because maybe for David to strip down naked or his underwear or whatever it was, and I don't know if that was just a spiritual metaphor way of saying that David was maybe naked meant just unashamed. I don't know. I mean, you got to wonder at it. So I think that it's interesting to think about what love looks like and what God looks like. The truth is, the Bible is a good place for some people to get an idea of what God sounds like. But I think it's hard to read the Bible without the overshadowing voice of what you already think it sounds like. Like when Jesus drove them out with the whip of cords. So that's my message for today.